You're ready in Visor, right?
What's that?
You're ready in Visor.
Yes. Yeah. I'm in. I'm good.
Okay. I'm going to use like. By the way, record this if you want. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if possible.
Yeah. I've got it rolling.
All right. Hello, Orthos team. By the way, if you see this. Okay, I'm going to use 4 steps. All right.
Okay.
The first step is going to be whenever you have map control. Right? Map control means, you know what map control is?
Kind of controlling the pace of the engagements. You pick where you want to fight and when you want to fight.
More or less, yes. Basically, that you are in the control of the. They need to contest into you. You are the defending,
Okay.
right? You won the last fight. You have like the map for you to work with,
Mm-hmm.
basically. For example, on defense, you start by default with map control.
Mm-hmm.
So just pretend, okay, that the payload stopped here.
Okay.
And you are playing goats. I assume that at this very moment you will all stack in the payload at 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of this, in Europe, we do a formation that is called off-angling, okay?
Okay.
Which is basically the Reinhardt will stay on the payload, the Brig, which means you will be close to him, fairly close, right?
Okay.
Then you will have the Zarya on gas station, then you have the D.Va on this hill right here, and then you have the Zen with the Zarya in the gas station. Lucio will be wall riding or between the D.Va and the Rain.
Okay.
All right. What's the goal? I mean, this is not. I always use the Hollywood. I tried to use a simple one, but I'm going to use my go for example because it's way clearer.
All right. No
Okay, in
worries.
this example, Zarya will be up here,
Mm-hmm.
D.Va will be up here, the payload is here. Okay, you're attacking.
Okay.
You're attacking. The Reinhardt will be on the payload. The Brig will be here behind these boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lucio will be on the high ground. And this 10 is super, super far away.
Okay.
So what do you achieve with this? If this is only goats versus goats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but goats versus goats. If the enemy team rolls out a 6, there are several things that they need to do in order to deal with you. First of all, if your Zarya is, like, let's say normally the Zarya is going to be like 80 energy or stuff,
Mm-hmm.
more or less.
Yeah.
Your Zarya is on the high ground. Who do you think that in the enemy team can take that Zarya away?
They would have to just like if they had like the Zen or D.Va, they would have to like Zen would have to try to pressure with just long range orbs, and D.Va would have to try to fly up. But D.Va would not be good to go against the Zarya because Zarya will just get a whole bunch of ult charge off of that.
Mm-hmm.
They could put like a Lucio up there to try to knock Zarya off of high ground, but aside from that, I don't really know what else they could really do to contest.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you are correct. You just said that's good for you, really. You just said every single opportunity they can, every single thing they can do. And as you conclude yourself, they can do. There is nothing they can do.
Mm-hmm.
If the Lucio goes up there, well, your Zen is free to discord him. And as a 200 HP hero, you don't really want to get discorded against a Zarya at this 80 energy, right?
Yeah.
It's not like your wet dream right there. That's the first problem you face is that the Zarya is in the high ground. Next, the D.Va and the D.Va. How do you deal with the D.Va really?
D.Va will be able to get a whole lot of poke damage off, especially with the rockets, because she can kind of just like. I know with one of the biggest things about goats is that it's a very single directional based comp, and so being able to hit from multiple angles is going to either pull focus or just force them to take a whole lot of damage. So if the Zarya and D.Va posted up on these sides, it's already kind of setting up a crossfire of sorts. And so I know the D.Va would only, again, really be able to be contested by a Lucio or by the opposing D.Va. But if the opposing D.Va uses their thrusters to get up to ours, we have cooldown advantage, so we would already have the high ground. And with Lucio up there, he can just boop him back down. and now D.Va has no thrusters, and we stop the high ground. And we also know that Zarya is totally safe too. If their Lucio goes up, well, it's a 2v1 right there with our Lucio D.Va, and so that would just be in free pickings, essentially.
Well, I'm actually impressed. You have better reasoning that some contender players. And not joking. Not joking. People like, hey, we will just send the D.Va on the Zarya and just, you bubble the D.Va and wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can't deal with the Zarya. We can't deal with the D.Va, Lucio. So what about the Rein?
I mean, we're kind of forcing them to fight the Rein, and that's exactly what we want them to do, because if they're focusing on Rein, that means Zarya and D.Va are free to just do anything they want to do. And then we also have our Zen in the backline, so he's completely safe. He's out of harm's way. He'll be able to get a lot of ult charge off of just the brawl. And Zarya still has access to be able to bubble Rein from where she is and just lob right clicks in. D.Va is close enough to Rein to be able to use her defense matrix to eat any needed projectiles or anything like that. And with the Rein Brig and the healing from the cart, that's already going to be really, really tough to break through, because we're essentially forcing them to fight our Rein and Brig and just take damage from the sides. So we're able to kind of slide a lot of damage in where they're not expecting it to be.
You know how this movement is called besides of angling?
What?
Forcing aggro. You know that are you familiar with the aggro mechanic with artificial intelligences?
No.
For example, World of Warcraft. If there is a boss and you have this tank that has aggro mechanics that forces this AA.
Oh yeah. Yes.
To attack the tank.
Yeah,
right?
they're like forcing them to take a fight. Yes.
This is how you use that mechanic with players. You basically position your entire team to redirect the damage on the person you want, which is the main tank, which is a hero capable of dealing with this thing. On top of that, who is close to the Rein? Brig, but on the other side, Lucio too. So you have double whoop with the whip from Brig plus the whoop from Lucio, plus you have the stun of it.
Yeah.
So if you are right now getting out of that wide door, what would you do as a GOAT team?
Like if we were trying to defend against this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with where the card is and how they're set up, I don't think we'd really be able to win that fight. And our team would probably just be like, alright, just give up point. Or we would try to dump all of our resources into killing the Rein. Because we do know that Rein is the kind of the keystone block in GOATS v GOATS matchups. But at the same time, if we throw everything into Rein, where everybody else is still positioned, the fight doesn't end with his death, because we still have to deal with everybody else. Yeah, exactly, with the crossfire. And so if we use everything on him, we wouldn't be able to contest that, and would have the fight wouldn't be won for us yet, and we'd have to either play it really well or hope that they make mistakes. The best thing probably would be to go fight inside of jail, because we'd be able to kind of just shield up in the door, and we'd be close enough to contest the payload there, shield up in the door to stop Zarya and Zen spam, and we would force the Lucio D.Va off of the high ground, because we would just be under them and they wouldn't be able to really do anything where they're at.
You were doing great until you said defending on jail. Defending on jail is not possible, because the rotation is just too hard to do.
Okay.
But your best bet actually is to just speed on Rein and pray. It's literally pray. Pray that you kill the Rein and pray that you kill the Brig afterwards. Then you have enough numbers, maybe to not win the fight, but just endure while they poke you. And eventually you can just deal with the Lucio and the D.Va. Once you deal with that, then dealing with the Zarya is easy, because you just basically outnumber her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's really good. Honestly, that's really good. I didn't expect that. I'm glad that you develop all of this. So what I'm going to what I'm going to show you now is an actual team that did this.
Okay.
This was the first time I had a like 1 hour session with the entire team.
Mm-hmm.
They are, for the record, they are 4.2.
Oh wow. Okay.
But the enemy team is 4.5.
Oh.
So it's an interesting match.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting match. You're going to see something. Like it's the positioning.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to explain something on the go.
All right.
For example, in this attack, look at the rain, the blue rain. Okay, they are the defending team.
I see the D.Va up on the high ground just poking away at the Rein.
It's like just fragging out, you know. It's like Jesus. It's this interact. Also, if you are in the main tank's body, when a D.Va shoots you, it's like this metallic sound that basically destroys your mind, you know, because it ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Every single time. The good thing about
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't know why the Herbania esports didn't take their Lucio D.Va to contest her up on the high ground.
They did.
Oh,
they tried.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The D.Va is, if you see this D.Va, is they are going to contest.
Okay.
Try to, at least. Try to.
Oh, I see.
But the thing is, he does it poorly. These guys might be 4.5, but these guys don't know how to play goats. And these guys, this is also a demonstration of SR doesn't mean a skill.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes to play this game. So the interesting thing here for you also is the Zarya is not on the high ground. The Zarya is off angling from the low ground. But with this display right here, if they rush the Zarya, thing that they are going to try, the entirety of this comp is going to strike from the ribs or in the ribs of the enemy goats.
Yeah.
Which is going to, for example, a ping like this is going to be possible, and actually it's going to catch someone off guard.
Yeah.
Besides that, the Zen is not going to rotate that well, let's say.
Yeah, because they're essentially able to split the team with that.
Exactly. And then the Zarya is 100 energy, but also has personal bubble up like this. That means that if you chase her, you die. And she's not even close to die herself.
Yeah, it's really hard to just blow up a Zarya. At least if she has personal up.
And then this is how you win the fight. Winning the fight means that you basically have ult advantage, as you can see. Like this is plus 30 on the Zarya. This is plus 53 or 52 on the D.Va. You have plus 43 on the Rain. You know, it's and defensive ultimates are basically at the same level. So it's pretty snowball.
Yeah.
Then they try to contest once again, but they just bubble the D.Va. Go for the graph, go for the combo. You know this combo, right?
Why didn't the Rein put a shield up? Was the shield broken?
I assume so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I know it's the grab bomb combo. We were trying to do that today in our OD match, but every time the Rein was able to just shield it, and so it's like
I'm going to cover once we are done with the 4 steps. I'm going to cover how to use ultimates. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Because we went through that phase too. This is also, I mean, this is a bit of teabag because they know each other, right? There are 2 Spanish teams, and there was a bit of trash talk in before the match. So that's why this guy is teabagging like that. usually what you do is you take your Lucio with your Zarya whenever you kill the enemy team, and you try to go to the not till the respawn, but in a safe spot where you can just right click on the process. Because this guy is the first graviton, and this guy just used his, but he's 41 already on his next one.
Yeah.
So it's basically taking advantage of the downtime on the reset time, and this is why you take your Lucio, because the Lucio is going to speed you out, basically. So just doing this, and also you maintain your energy level as a Zarya. So you are basically
you're just tossing in the right clicks, and if they throw any returning fire, then you just maintain your energy.
This is so nasty. This is why you check the corners.
Yeah.
Basically, and they didn't.
And then the stagger on the D.Va.
This is actually painful.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then again, the Zarya just tries to go for charge, etc. And just build. He's 77, and the other guy is first graviton.
Yeah.
And this is the wonderful thing. This is the wonderful thing about the goats and of angling. They have 5 ultimates. If you remember the display before on Hollywood, if you grab, who are you grabbing, right? Because you have, like, just pretend this is Hollywood, the second point. You have the Zarya on top, you have D.Va on jail, you have Reinhardt here, you have the Brig. Who do you grab here?
You'd probably want to grab the Brig Ryan.
I mean, this is enough distance to not get grabbed, of course.
Yeah.
So this is like 5 meters or so. So you're probably going to grab the Rain. With the Shatter, same thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to Shatter, you're going to only hit one guy if you hit him, because the projected from the Zarya can just strike whenever.
We'd also have to be very careful, because the D.Va would be in range to just use her defense matrix to eat the grab if you're not careful with it.
Exactly. That also forces like using the grab on a wall. So it doesn't get eaten. So you're going to pick one person alone. This is why you use the trance. If you pick the Rain, you use the trance always, because you want to save the Rain.
Yeah.
Always. At least this is the meta in EU, and the reasoning behind it is we believe is the best meta, because the guy that goes into the graph is already invulnerable. So the guy that goes to heal the Rain is not going to die. And then with the trance, you basically save Rain from every single kind of DPS.
Yeah.
And then you have the Zarya to bubble Rain in case of any burst damage, like D.Va Bomb. Then you're basically you're trading the graph for a Zen, for a trance, and you are saving your Rain, which leaves you in a pretty good spot, honestly.
Yeah. Because that's the whole point of the Zen ult, is just to kind of help cancel out whatever win condition the enemy is relying on.
Exactly. And then the good thing about that is, usually, what I was about to say. I mean, saving your Rain and gaining trance allows you to just get out of the graph, and saving the Rain from 2 ultimates, which is graph plus D.Va Bomb, with 1 ultimate, which is the trance. Which is super efficient. This is why we don't graph D.Va Bomb anymore, because people in Europe play this way. Then it's very rare that the graphs are massive. It's really rare.
That makes sense. Because then you're putting too many resources into something that's not worth it.
Exactly. For example, look here. They go for the graph. They go for a late pin. So Reinhardt gets blown up, but you save everything. Then you counter graph. You counter trance, because you need to sustain, right? They trance, so you trance. So these guys beat because their ultimate economy is way more healthy. And then this guy uses graph. Get the Zarya in, you kill the Zarya. In the Shatter they kill the Brig, but basically the HP and ultimate like cooldown advantage on the red team is just super high. And this is a play I always use with every single person that tries to learn goats. 1, 2, 3, for 5 ultimates against 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can only get 1 pick.
Yeah, and if you're defending and you like if you're the attacking team and you have to use more ultimates than them just to tie, you're losing because
Exactly.
you don't have them for the next fight and you didn't gain any ground.
And then this Zarya is already a 52 again. So the Zarya just keep moving forward, keep charging Graph. They just use Graph and Trance at the same time. The Trance is 33, and they have Graph. You can build 1 Graph, or even 2 Graphs before 1 Trance.
Yeah.
If you do this correctly, of course. If you do the off-angling correctly, it's right-click. Like if the Zarya is 100 energy and it's right-clicking the entire codes from the side, I'm going to show you another video that shows that every right-click does like 30% ult charge. So 1 clip is 1 Graviton.
That's insane.
When you build Gravitons at this rate, you don't use Gravitons to kill stuff. Because if you grab here and you get the rain, they need to trans the rain, otherwise the rain is dead. So that's why we don't go also for massive grabs. Just killing the rain is enough with the grab. And then in the cleanup process, the Zarya is going to farm half of another grab.
I see. That makes sense.
Of course, this requires a lot of discipline, but this is something that doesn't require to be high SR or something. Because this is watching the game from, again, a chess perspective.
Yeah.
This Omnis Club, they are not doing anything out of the normal thing. They're just playing collected, and then this is what you gain. If you engage only with the Diva Bomb, you create a single win condition that then the enemy team needs to respect, and then you are just speeding on them.
Yeah, because then, like, they have to fight the bomb or fight the team, and so it's just splitting the focus.
Exactly. And this is how you double off angle in a defense. Then I have another clip. I'm looking for the other clip. This is sadly I don't have from anyone from Brick, especially because the off angling gets created from the off tanks, right? This as a proof that this works. Okay, there we go. So this is going to be a 4.4k Zarya in the scrims.
Okay.
Fury, I got it.
Yeah, wait, there we go, straight to point.
I see it.
You always use your personal bubble first, the energy, then you meet the projected one, and then you say, hey, 80 energy, let's start off angling.
Come off angling. Who's on the right?
Take
My
position.
shield is down, my shield is down, all the way.
Bubble in two, bubble in two.
I'm
Maybe just look at the ultimate charge,
Yeah.
and he's going to kill everybody, just striking from the side.
Let me hear right. Ryan low.
Sorry next. Sorry one, nice.
I'm a diva now. I'm going point. I'm going point. Brick.
And this is how you get 1 Graviton in less than 30 seconds.
That's actually insane.
And then
Wow.
since you build the Graviton so fast, you're just going to use it. Just because you have it, you know?
No, we don't need to.
These Zarya's just use Gravitons on cooldown because they treat the Graviton as a cooldown because they can build them so fast.
Let's go, Ryan.
Just go in. Nice one.
Let's go, Brick.
And then just in the cleanup duty, he's already 15 again. So he just goes for the spawn and just right clicks.
Help me keep my charge and spam.
Yeah, we go deep on shadowing.
Go aggressive.
The teammates in comms is saying something that like go back, etc. because they weren't in the session. This was an all session with this guy. So it's already 40, etc. 52, and then this is one of the 6 of angling I've ever seen.
I have friends. No problem.
Like each right click hurts like hell.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Graviton already. Boom.
I'm
Let's
grabbing
go.
this. My bad.
Book there. I stand him.
Oh, my bad.
Bring it, bring.
You had to grab every fight.
Every
This is
fight.
insane.
Anna, I did. That was my moment.
And he's not doing anything outside of the normal thing.
No,
Yeah.
you have
He's
to
just
do that.
left clicking. I mean right clicking.
Mhm. Out of curiosity, when he had done the grab into the wall, the fight before this one, why was he just holding his beam into the bundle instead of tossing in right clicks? Because it'd be the AoE damage, so it'd hit all of them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because he was trying something. I told him, this is an advanced move.
They have nothing.
It's a good question actually.
Good one.
Just going in.
When he does this, he moves forward and he uses bubble, right?
Mhm.
Like this. You know why he does this?
Probably because, if I had to guess, he's so close to them that there's no way they can actually attack without hitting his bubble.
Okay. If you are in the graph and they pop trance, if you go inside the graph and you bubble yourself, you split the healing.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because I know that trans is, it's like LOS based in a way because it can be blocked by shields or like terrain, or I guess also it makes sense with the Zarya bubble too.
Mm-hmm.
That makes so much sense.
So he's going in. He's just trying to deal beam damage because beam DPS on single target, of course, is higher than right click.
Mhm.
Because he wants to split the rain because he thinks that they might have trance.
Mhm.
So he just wants to kill. This is how you kill the rain in a trance. This
I
is going
see.
in as Sarja and bubbling it yourself.
I see.
It's a very very advanced move, but it works a lot.
I see. Okay.
Nice one.
Let's go, Brick.
Book is there into
In
you.
fact, we did this to Paris,
Let me.
the
let
Overwatch
me
League team,
Keep my charge.
like 5 or 6 times in a row.
Oh,
I
I'm with you.
I wish I could show you, but sadly that footage is not for every public.
Yeah, no worries.
They have grab already.
But it's basically that, and basically the idea of this is,
I have friends.
as a Sarja, if you go for this crossfire, you just shit gravitons one after another, and you treat them like a cooldown.
I'm grabbing this.
Because right now this is the second grab in one trance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you just farm them.
he's had it like every fight, and so it's just about, yeah, like you said, using it like a normal cooldown instead of like an ultimate.
It reaches a point where people just use them just because they want to build another one.
You had to be there.
It gets to this cocky level of, hey, I can build 7 gravitons in one round.
I do that
So it just-
on Hanzo with dragons because I can get dragons so fast that I just like sometimes I throw them out just to like split the team, just because I know I'll have like another one by the end of that fight.
Bubbles. I come.
Let's go then.
Well, this is the same thing, but with grabs, basically. And then the team gets out-rotated. He gets out-rotated too because he should have picked the other angling here. But still, this is him dying. But hey, 81.
Yeah.
It's another one. He uses 4 grabs in this round, I think, something like that. It's so massive, so massive.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on a bit.
Alright.
We're using Hollywood.
Yeah, we were on Hollywood before.
Okay. This is an advanced move. This is something that is going to take. This is step 2.
Alright.
Okay. Step 1 was map control. Step 2 is going to be graph formation. I've graph F. For example, for us in Orgles, we have a keyword for this. A keyword that basically involves every single movement everyone needs to do to replicate basically this drawing I'm going to do.
Okay.
If you feel free to use any kind of keyword, for example, a apple, or watermelon, something like that.
whatever we want, basically.
Yeah, basically. Sarja, D.Va, we start off this like the same fangling, etc. This is a graph formation when you have map control. And the comms will be like, hey boys, they have graph. No, we know they have graph. They are going to use it, etc. So it basically consists in moving this to the backline to basically get this formation: Zarya, Rain, Brick, D.Va, Lucio, Zen. Let's go for it. Can you tell me why the D.Va is playing there?
I would imagine. So, this is for if the defending team is trying to use a grab, right?
Yes.
Well, they would have to grab either Rein or Brig, or throw it up to the Zarya, solo grab Zarya, which is not really any worth for them. So they'd have to do it on just the Rein and Brig, or try to lob it over them to the D.Va, Lucio, and Zen, but D.Va will eat that, and there's a decent chance she'll actually be able to eat it on Rein and Brig as well. And can always just throw her bomb straight down the center lane to kind of like force them to deal with it, because if they're trying to deal with the D.Va bubble, they won't be able to put everything they have into the Rein and Brig, and so they should be able to make it out. That's at least my guess, is the fact that they would have to kind of split the focus.
Basically, what this formation, you're kind of close. Basically, what this formation does is what is called force a bad grab. You cannot do the 3-pointer, as you said, the lob, right? To the backline, because the D.Va is going to eat that.
Yeah.
So if you do a small lob to the Rain, the D.Va is also going to eat that. So basically, it forces you to grab a wall. And by grabbing a wall, then the Zen goes in, etc., etc., etc. It's basically just forcing the graph to be on the wall, and also provides the D.Va with a really good advantage, which is some of the D.Vas, maybe your D.Va player does it probably, and they use a lot of matrix, trying to predict, hey, the graph is going to hit now, etc. Right? With this formation, you don't need to matrix anything. Because if the D.Va moves forward, if the Zarya moves forward trying to grab your Rain and the Brig at the same time, then is when you matrix. Because you actually see that the enemy Zarya needs to bubble herself. And if he goes for a lob, you have enough time to react to it then. So basically, you are just waiting there, looking at the Zarya and not matrixing at all. So you have like the finger ready on the matrix button, just hit it, or they go for a super bad one.
Yeah.
There is like no counter side.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. You're kind of just forcing them to, get the best we can out of it.
There is a super. This is like in-depth advanced move again, but I'm just mentioning it. Just, because it's knowledge that you always want to know, right?
Yeah.
You know that if you activate the matrix, there is and you activate and you deactivate it, there is a
It's a 1 second.
Time.
Yeah, there's a 1 second in between it, and they're upping that to 2 seconds with this next coming patch.
Exactly. So this 1 second downtime, people like really good Zaryas, they will bait you to use their matrix, and then they will use the lob, because in that downtime you cannot use the matrix. But this is really hard to do. It's really, really hard to do that.
Yeah, it involves a lot of really good timing, and you have to really be confident about what you're doing.
For example, like players, we reached a point where our Zarya player was like the Zarya you saw, getting a grab per fight or something like that. At this point, it's just use it, Just use screams to practice this timing, and then on officials, just use it. If it gets eaten, well, you are going to build another one pretty fast, right? Yeah, well, then go for it. It doesn't matter if it gets eaten, etc. It does matter, but it's not that.
It's not the end of the world, because you can just get another one rather fast.
And it's not like, hey, don't attack my confidence, It's better that the Zarya player is confident and say, hey, that was a bad grab. Let me get another, super quick.
Yeah.
Okay. This is basically the two formations that you do when you have map control, which means that when you win a fight, you go either for the complete of angling, or with semi of angling if you think that they have graph.
I see.
Now the third spot. When you have map control, as we saw, the off angling starts on the rain. If the pilot is here, then the rain is here, then Sarja, and then Diva, right?
Mhm.
It starts off the rain. If you are recontesting, which means that you don't have map control, you just lost a fight. Let's say you are in this map.
Okay.
The payload is here. The enemy team is defending this corner. Reinhardt, etc. Sarja, blah blah blah. This is called 3. I mean, I'm going actually to use blue in this map. You see blue better, right?
Yeah.
Than black. Okay, 3. This is recontest. Recontest. Yeah, recontest. Whatever.
You could
Okay,
always
so-
use the little font tool. It's like.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just a bit lazy in that regard because it
Yeah.
takes too much time.
All right.
For example, I kind of assume that your team in this situation just will go garage and straight meeting them, right?
If they were holding there and
Mm-hmm.
just going off of where the cart was, how it's kind of like at that corner, we'd
Mhm.
probably take the connector over to like the halls area, take that high ground, and just drop down on them.
Okay, that's the correct move. But whenever you take this connector and you go high ground,
Mhm.
you start the off-angling. Instead of from the range, you start it from the Zarya, because the Zarya has no vertical mobility, right?
Mhm.
So that's why you do this entire movement, this transition around. Because you, in the high ground, you can leave what I call the double sets, which is basically Zen plus Zarya.
Oh, that makes sense. So I was like double Z's, but then I remembered that that's. I would say Z, you'd say Z, and that just it threw me for a second.
No.
But,
So
okay.
if you have this, then your rank can drop
Mhm.
and play like this. You flip them up, right? You flip the entire level of them up, so the enemy rank plays like this.
Mhm.
Your rank plays like this, but then you have the high ground here. Then your Diva can go to pass. Then your Zen is here, and then there you go, the same exact display.
Yeah, and that's honestly ideal because in that situation we're forcing them to play offense in a spot that they don't want to because we just gave ourselves map control.
Exactly.
Like just
than
with
map control,
positioning alone.
High ground control.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
With one rotation, this is something that is actually really well done, and it's actually possible in Overwatch, and it should be done. For example, Overwatch League teams does that a lot. But as a coincidence, for example, today in Orclus we had one ball review about this. Not goats, it was live, but it's like with only one movement, you destroy their entire strat, and you didn't even get to shoot a single bullet. And this is for example an example of this. You just basically start the off-angling from the Zarya, who has no mobility, and then you just develop the map as you want. Okay, and the fourth step is basically the graph formation, but when you don't have map control. Basically, with these 4 steps, what I aim to cover is basically the main interactions that Goats versus Goats is going to have. So 4 is graph formation with recontest, which will be, let's say that you have. I'm going to go back to the black.
Okay.
Sorry, oopsie. Diva here, the rain here, Zarya, Brig, plus Lucio. And the Zen here on the bridge. They are pushing the payload like this. And you are the defending team. And you say, hey, we know that the Zarya is at this corner because she's going to grab. Right? She's going to grab this wall, and we are going to die, basically, or use something. How do you recontest into this? How would you?
Let's see. So we're trying to attack, or we're trying to defend against this?
you need to touch the point. You need to get out of the high ground. You are on the high ground.
Okay.
You
Okay.
need to get out of the high ground, and you know that they have graph.
I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what we would do.
Maybe use the Reinhardt first, and just go behind him.
We would probably just try to bait out the grav, and yeah, we'd probably just try to bait it out and hope that our diva can eat it, or just make sure that we only have like one person in it, because ever since we started talking about this, about like it's okay to just grab the Rhine and kill him. Before then, like, I don't know, you're gonna watch the VODs that I'm posting right now, and then it's gonna. Like I'm gonna be ashamed to show it to you now, just because I'm like, this makes so much sense, but
No,
I
it's
didn't
okay.
think of it
Don't worry,
before.
don't
But
worry.
we probably would have just been like, all right, well, let's just get like only like, if we can just stay split up enough to where they can't grab all of us, and then we can just transit and then re-engage after.
Okay. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Don't worry about like getting ashamed, etc. This is what you are here for, you know. So it's not a problem. I'm going to just try to keep this in mind. I'm going to just pretend this is the corner, right? This is the corner, the aerial side of the corner that you are getting through. You're getting through there.
Okay.
Okay. So in this corner, you said that you will try to just redirect into the Reinhardt, try to bait, etc. What you, in the ideal situation, what you do is you put the diva first. The diva first is going to do this rotation like this, right?
Okay.
Always aiming and matrixing this corner.
Okay.
So putting the matrix right there, if they grab the wall, it's going to get eaten. And at the same time, you have 2 seconds to speed everyone the shit out of the choke point. And on top of this, if you realize, by taking this radius of matrix, you're also eating the spam from the Sun, the fire strike from the rain, and the spam from the diva in front of you. You're creating a curtain with the defense matrix that basically allows you to erase every single piece of damage out of the choke point at the cost of a matrix. And
I see.
the thing is, usually when you need to get out of a choke point, you need to pay a toll.
Way higher
Always,
than that.
in terms of HP, or ultimates, resources, even cooldowns are valuable, but you need to use them. Like, for example, here you're using speed boost and matrix. If the diva gets poked so hard, you might want to use the projected bubble on the diva. All of that, but that's a reasonable price to pay in order to just regain map control.
Yeah.
Not regain map control, but be able to spread out of the choke point. Because as I said you the other day, choke points are like bottlenecks, right?
Yeah.
If you-
It's
if
definitely
you
not
are-
where you want to be fighting.
Exactly. If you are fighting here, every single piece of AoE ability they have is going to strike into everybody. But if you're playing here, you're way more liquid, let's say. So that's how you will unlock this situation.
I see.
Okay, nice. And the last thing, ultimate usage. So you have Goats is Rain, Zarya, Diva, Brig, Lucio, and Zen. So in terms of ultimates, what do you have here? You have one enabler. You have a second enabler. You have one defensive, and you have a second defensive, right? And then you have these both. They are what is called hybrid. They can be used either for attack or defensive purpose. For example, they grab you, and they are going to pin your ring and do the Diva Bomb combo. You Diva Bomb close to the graph, so the enemy ring can't pin.
I see.
Defensive usage. Offensive usage, as you saw in the video, you just throw the Diva Bomb onto the rain, you speed on him, and you kill him. Same thing with the Brigade ultimate. Defensive purposes, you are going to get poked, you're getting poked, they use, for whatever reason, they use the beat to engage on you. You just rally in order to sustain your team.
Just to match it, exactly.
Exactly, without using an actual defensive ultimate. Offensive one, same thing that Diva. If you diva bomb into the air, you can rally to just provide the sustain through the engage.
You can also use Brig Rally to help get through chokes. Like you said, there's always something that you have to pay.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
Brig Rally, it not only gives additional health, that will help make the entire team a bit beefier to not have to worry about that as much. It also gives a little bit of a speed boost, and so that, accompanied with a Lucio speed boost, gives a startling amount of speed to flood through the gates. And now you're on top of the enemy team with 100 more health than them.
Exactly. On the counterpart, you can get poked without being able to heal that armor, so they gain more ultimate. But yeah, it's an actual decent choice. So based on these ultimates, you understand now why the trance get used to stop the graph. Based on all these plays you want to do. Based on that, also, Zen has no vertical mobility, so Zen is usually on the low ground. Since Lucio is on the high ground, whenever the Reinhardt shatters, usually should not get hit by the shatter. And if the shatter is going to hit multiple people, what you usually do is you drop the beat because you know that they are going to receive burst damage, but you don't know who exactly. So you just beat. That's why the beat hits in an area of effect.
Yeah,
basically saving everybody.
Yeah,
exactly. This is the normal rotation for defensive and offensive ultimates. Of course, if you, as I saw in the video, they rally and they grab, etc. You trans and they beat afterwards. You can beat in order to provide that sustain. You don't have your rally. Okay. What else? It's really important that they get synchronized, which means that, let's say, for example, they grab you, but everybody dies, etc., and you don't get to use the Zen ultimate because you say, "Hey, we are fine, we are not going to die." You don't want to use the Zen ultimate in the next fight because if the Zarya then builds a graph, then she's going to use the graph when you are 50 on the trance. You want to hold on her on the trance. This is why the rally is really good when it comes to sustain.
Yeah, it's kind of like that filler.
Exactly. Allows you to just not use the trance. There is no worse feeling than getting shatter. You trance the shatter, but the rain pins the brick, for example, in the trance, you know.
I hate that. I hate that so much. Or like, there's also been times when I would be Brig and I would rally, and then Ryan just pins me to the wall. I'm like, oh, neat.
So this is why you usually keep it like this. This is the defensive meta on EU right now.
I see.
So since the Graviton combo is just readable as fuck right now, and people know how to answer that with bubbles, etc. What people do is, if you are in the open, they engage with Diva Bomb. They engage with Diva Bomb because a possible scenario, for example, is you engage with Diva Bomb. They use both bubbles to save, let's say, the Rain and Zarya itself, and then you grab, and they don't have bubbles, right? And then you can use your own bubbles in order to, for example, split the trance if you need, or do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, and then
at the end of the day,
that fight.
At the end of the day, when Goats versus Goats, you don't really want to use something and go for kills. You want to use something and then get something out of them, trade resources.
I see.
And then eventually you kill them because they either don't have enough resources, you have better position, for example in a choke point, etc., or because they misplay. Right, because you shatter and the Lucio gets hit by the shatter while he has a beat. That's a misplay. Then you kill because they were not able to beat that shatter.
I see.
It's a different approach of
Yeah,
it's not going for kills, not be this bloodthirsty, you know.
Yeah, you're not using the ults for kills. You're more of using them to just wait until somebody makes a mistake, and you capitalize on that instead.
Exactly. And this is basically, you can say this is GOATS 1-on-1 in Europe right now. You can cover much stuff, a lot of stuff, but this is basically the basic thing that if you control this, more or less, any GOAT versus GOAT situation, first of all, you always have a plan. Because it's like, hey, do they have graph? No, we can split, right? We can spread. Do they have graph? Yeah, we know what to do. Are we recontesting? Are we unlocking a choke point? For example, unlocking a choke point with a D.Va bomb is really good because you're buying that space.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's just gives you this macro picture that you can refer to basically. Everybody, whenever you have a team and you have this macro picture, and this is why I like to give these tools to teams. There is no more, let's say, plans on people's own. You all have this macro window that you can refer to, and since you are using something in common, you know where everybody's going to be.
Yeah.
So it's pretty reliable. And then when it comes to ultimate usage, if you follow this pattern, then the plans are going to be super straightforward, and then you only need to focus on one thing, which is how are you going to do that.
Yeah.
Right? If the plan is if the shatter, then you know that the shatter, you know that you are with map control. So both Brick and Lucy are going to be open. So you just focus on who is going to boop the rain or who is going to stun the rain. And that gives you way more efficient plans and at cost of simple fights. If that goes through, that's just basically paradise, because then you are setting up a simple plan that everybody knows, and it's going to be massive value because you are actually setting that up. That is going to allow you to have fights where you only would use one graviton or one shatter or one anything, win that fight, and have what is called a super healthy ult economy.
Yeah, because you're being able to invest minimal amounts of resources and still win
for the
fight.
maximum profit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have ultimates since your cooldowns, since your supports are just basically farming cleanups, you always have defensive ultimates. And if you keep them sync, you always have an answer. If they throw you something, you always have an answer, because if you are in the payload, you win a fight, but you stay on the payload, you are not doing anything to maximize the amount of chances you have of winning the next fight. You are just maximizing the amount of meters, but that also can be done with 3 people instead of 6. And also, the other day we spoke about something about vision and the fog of war, etc.
Yeah.
If the enemy team gets out of here, they don't know where you are, right? But if they go out of the spawn and they see a 6 on the payload, what do you think?
Well, they're gonna know exactly where we're all at.
But if they see 1,
then they're gonna have to quickly try to find out where the other 5 players are.
And that takes time, and that can be punished.
Because they don't know how to set up their own team to be able to deal with an enemy that they don't know where they're at.
Exactly. Maybe, for example, like this is again an advanced play, but the Zarya, instead of being here, since she has a graph, goes below, right? And when the Reinhardt drops, when the entire team drops, when the Zen is about to drop, she grabs top. So the Zen is stuck on the graph, so the Zen is going to trans to save himself, but the rest of the team is below. So no trans available for them.
I see. That is.
And that's something that you create those plays based on them not knowing where you are. All right. What do you think?
I think I definitely have a better understanding of GOATs now, because before our entire thought process was very simple in that, like, Ryan is the keystone block of the comp, so just kill him and we win. And then that is essentially how we ran it. That was the extent of our thought process. We knew that, And we always went off of the idea that because we don't have any real ult combos, we just use them kind of liberally. It's like use them when you need them, because like we said, we don't have any huge win conditions aside from like Grav Bomb. But aside from that, the rest of them were kind of free to use. The defensive ults obviously used defensively, and then the offensive ults used when attacking. But like there was no real structure to it. So I definitely feel a lot more sure about like how it's supposed to play out now.
Okay.
You'll
All
have
right,
you'll
I
have a
mean,
fun
you
time
can-
going over the videos too, watching how we did things instead. That'll be fun.
I mean, I'm not going to have fun. It's just I kind of expect what I'm going to see. The thing is, you might be surprised, but this is something that people in Tier 3 in Europe or even in NA, they don't know how to play goats. Even in contenders, there are teams that they don't know how to play goats. They play like you played, like Rush Rain. It's like Russians, you know. Go. Never mind. You are NA. You don't understand the reference. But here for playing Counter-Strike, there are a lot of Russian people. And they always say "Sikabliat," which is motherfucker.
Okay, I knew that. I knew suka blit, but I never knew what it meant.
It's Russian. I think the "Sikabliat" is motherfucker. Let me check real quick.
I know that one specific phrase, but I don't actually know what it means.
Basically, yeah, it's motherfucker, something like that. And they always say "Sikabliat Rush B." That's a meme from Counter-Strike Russia. And it's like if you go into a Russian, like in the Counter-Strike match, it's like "Sikabliat," like motherfucker go B. They always say that. Anyway, I don't remember the. Oh yeah, they play this style like rush the rain, just go and rush the rain, no matter what. And it's just you see back and forth. If you see, for example, the contender finals yesterday between Team Giganti and Angry Titans, the level of microplays that you can see. For example, they reach a point where you just shatter the D.Va bomb. Because you can shatter the D.Va bomb, you know, to stop the D.Va bomb from reaching your team in the Graviton.
Yeah, you can also you can use a McCree flashbang to do that too, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I mean you can CC, yeah, basically. You can like, for example, a brick was trying to stun the rain. Since they are playing in 130, they can stun the through barriers still. And you see that the Lucio and the brick, the defender, they are all protecting and peeling the rain. If the brick goes close, she gets instantly booped. You know, just a next level of micro plays. And I've never been a fan myself of tanks. I'm a super fan of dive and a super fan of DPS players showing their skill. In fact, as I don't know if I told you, but in contenders we try to run as much dive as possible.
So
Because,
I'm assuming you're probably pretty good at understanding dive then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
that's good because our main tank loves dive, but our team is just really bad at running it because we don't know how to play it, and so we don't do it very often. We do like 222 or goats because goats is very easy to understand, at least on the base level. And
I mean, now you have the advanced level.
yeah, we've got like a step up, which I'm super excited to like share with them. Like, guys, get this. So I'm really right. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, we do that or like just 222 because like it's just something that we know how to do. But like we've tried dive, but we just don't know how to dive, and so it's just it does not work.
Just to I mean, I don't claim to be. I might be actually, or I don't know. I honestly don't care. I might be. I might not be. But whenever like when Brick got released, like back in June, I think June, something like that.
Yeah, it was in that time area.
I was in an open division team called Golden Sausage. And yeah, jokes aside, it's a pretty famous team in Europe. It was because it's over now.
Okay.
But the Brick was released, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Brick is so broken! Brick is so broken! It's insanely broken!" Everybody was playing Brick everywhere, right? And I was like whenever I saw the trailer, etc., I said, yeah, it's like a World of Warcraft paladin, it's like it's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's super weak. This was my first reaction. Right, it's super weak, dude. And I was in the team's meeting with these guys and say, Brig is going to be enabled in our open division, but I think it's pretty weak. And they almost literally fired me when I said that. I was like, why? He said, yeah, I mean, Brig, yeah, she's strong in terms of crowd control, etc., and she has a burst healing. So yeah, of course she is top dive. But what about Pharah?
Yeah, that was always my thought too. Is like Brig is a very offensive based character, but as far as defense goes, she's very limited in her range, and she only has 250 health. So
She does what she does. I mean, what she's good at, she's really good at.
Mhm.
But he has like these super clear weaknesses
Yeah,
that you can exploit.
absolutely. Like you said with Pharah or even Junkrat, because her shield now especially does not have nearly as much health, and so you can just bust through that. And there's also like Widow. Like if Widow has like a good angle on her, like just like you said, like an off angle, then it's really easy to just kind of poke her down.
And of course, like this was the first break. Like it was super OP. And we were like, people, we are not going to play break. I don't feel like playing break. Like I understand that it's strong, because before that we had the quad tank. I don't know if you remember, if you were playing at that time, but we had quad tank, and quad tank was getting shut down super hard by like traditional dive. But this break is basically the hero that quad tank needed in order to just survive dive and actually overcome dive. And I was like, we're going to play Junkrat Pharah into that. And I started with Winston D.Va, and then I realized after a couple of scrims, like the very first day that Brig was released, Winston D.Va, they are weak because Brig can actually solo them at the same time. Yeah, the character is really strong.
Yeah.
We end up playing Rain Sarja, Hanzo Pharah, Mercy Sun, and that's a comp that you might see even today. And I was playing like the second day after Brig was released. I got that developed. And we played that in open division against a really good team that got even contracts and where they were earning a salary. And it was super fun because I mean I don't have the VOD anymore because it got erased from Twitch. But we were playing Oasis and we were on the high ground and we were just poking with this Pharah Hanzo, and they were like the casters were super excited. Hey Brig, etc. First time we see Brig, and you could see the Brig just staring at the McCree, watching the McCree die. Because she couldn't hit anything to proc the passive, and she already used the burst healing on the Lucio that got already poked.
Yeah.
And I was watching that on Twitch, and I was, oh my god, this is working so good. And it was like that team invested the last 2 weeks or the last 1 week of their training just practicing Brig, and then they face us that we don't play Brig, and also we know how to counter her. I was super good. I felt so good. And of course we 3-0 them, and people were like, holy shit, who is this team?
Who
And I was
are
like,
these
"Yeah, really."
guys?
Who are these? Yeah. The funny thing is we lost the previous match, so they were like, they just won 3-0 like in 45 minutes. It wasn't a complete against these guys that are like the favorites to go top 4 in OD, and they already have one loss. Like who did they lost against? And it was like. And from that point, I always, every single time, and every single team I always was playing dive. I don't really like the. In fact, it was in contenders because I got 3 players from my original roster poached
Okay.
in the middle of the season, basically. So we got fucking the ass like big time. I mean, it was like we played the first before the first week, we got poached our flex support to Mayhem Academy, and then the first week we got poached our main support to British Hurricane because we were playing dive.
Yeah.
And we lost, but people were like, "Holy shit, these guys are not playing goats." Even we had a couple Overwatch League scouts in watching our scrims that week. Yeah, because we're like, hey, these guys are not playing goats and they are actually doing decent, you know.
Yeah, it's like
And then the next,
like they're
yeah.
able to put up a fight on something that's like off meta.
Exactly. And then the next week, our Doomfist players got poached to again British Hurricane. So it was like, yeah, fuck off, you know.
Man,
But
British
that was the
Hurricane
first.
taking all your players, dude.
Yeah, basically, yeah. The funny thing is, we won against them then in Contemptors, but we had to get 2 players from tier 3, and the experience difference is so massive, so massive that we had to run goats. And I have this goat knowledge. This is basically by studying goats for 1 week.
I see.
So I studied just answering your thing about dive. I studied dive for 5-6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a pretty deep. If you like want to speak about dive in other session, we can do that.
All right, definitely. I'll probably if you're up for it, I don't know how it works between like one-on-one coaching or like a team thing. But I do know I still have at least 1 other hour, but I also plan on definitely getting more. But if you're up for it, we could try to get the rest of my team in at some point in the future.
I'm up for it. Just realize that it's your money, you know. I don't really like to do this. This goats thing, it helps you and helps your team. By helping your team, it helps you too.
Yes.
But I mean, for me, I have no problem. If you're up for it, for me, it's wonderful. I can do that.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'll definitely try to figure something out and get everybody together for that. So you can help us get our dive to not be Garbo.
Okay. All right. Then after the thingy, the quick chat, do we have those posts from you?
Yeah. We have. Let's see. 1, 2. We've got 3 of them right now.
Okay. Let me send them my way. I'll try to get.
I didn't change the name on them or anything, but I mean, all the content itself is still there. There's 1, there's 2, and here's the 3rd.
Okay, I'm going to just 1 minute answer a quick DM.
Okay, no worries. There we go. I'll watch it in a bit. Oh.
All right, so let's check this.
So the very first one I sent with me on Pharah on Ilios, that's actually a comp game from the other day, but it's something. And then the other 2 are actually from today from Open Division.
Okay, I'm going to try, if possible, to get up goats. Oh, this is not available. I guess it's processing yet.
Oh, which one are you looking at?
The 3rd link you sent.
Both
of them. They are not available.
I see. Sorry, I did not hit publish. That is my fault. Okay, there we go. Here's a new one there and a new one there.
I got it.
Although it shows Pharah for that first one that I sent you, we end up swapping 2 goats because it wasn't working out. And then the second one, it was Busan. We ran goats all 3 times. I think we actually ran floats on one of the maps, but similar enough.
All right. I mean, as a Brig, not too much. I can't say because Brig gameplay is super straightforward.
Yeah. If anything, I'll probably be mainly just like positioning or.
Yeah. Basically, it's positioning. Basically, it's out of that. It's all positioning.
Yeah.
But I'll try also the stun management, etc. Like.
Okay.
There are things that I'm just quickly going over the bots, like looking at what you play as.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's take the Busan.
All right.
Oh, HD. Yes. Let's go for it. It's because I usually use YouTube Music. I have the videos on low quality because I don't have the best connection ever. So when I was chilling, I'm chilling on stuff, you know. I just go for 144.
I get you.
And whenever I export them to Visor, they copy the quality. So I'm like, wait, what? Is that a pixel? You know?
It's super low quality.
Yeah, it's like super like whoa. And then I need to redo the lobby because I'm just retarded at that point. You know?
No worries. I normally like to listen to music too when playing, but I know that if I'm uploading to YouTube, if they like pick up on some of the music, it cuts out the comms, and I wanted to have the comms in it, and so I was like, all right, no music.
Yeah, there you go. Because BB is either
For example, my main tank when we scream only, not in officials, he likes to use to put classical music on the background, like super low, like classical music. Yeah. Just go for classical music, like random stuff. And it's like whoa,
wall of inspiration right here.
but it helps him like focus. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I
this
guess
is
that's
something for
good.
everybody, right?
Get the shield out, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bordering.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, we go with our round, we go with our round, we go with our...
I'm going, since I didn't watch this beforehand. I'm going to just watch the fight and then go backwards.
Yeah, no worries.
They have no wall, they have no wall.
Monkey's win condition. Let's go on the monkey.
Alright.
I'm anti backing up here a bit.
I'm on monkey. Monkey's.
Genji's behind you guys.
Heals right.
I'm frozen. I'm frozen.
Okay.
I'm DMing you, right? Monkey's on. DMing you.
I'm on monkey still. I'm on monkey.
All right. So these guys are playing floats basically.
So we can get the shield out, yeah.
Okay. As a support player, I mean, you're not a support player. As a support hero, you need to step a bit on what are the support responsibilities, and it's weird because you don't really apply all of them. Besides when you are in break,
Yeah.
but it's also going to help you understand how the support role works as a whole. There is this golden rule of thumb that you basically, whenever you see your comp and you see there is this point that you see the enemy comp, they have a Genji, etc. Right? So you need to ask this is going to be an automatism after a short period, but it's like you need to ask yourself, where is the fight going to take place? Right? Where in my team, in my entire composition, who is the guy that is going to get targeted? Who is the guy that is going to get,
Yeah.
targeted the most? Since they have a Winston, they have a Genji, etc. That means that they have versatility, but they sacrifice, let's say, frontal power, right? They want to go for your send. They want to go for your backline. This means that your rain is not going to be the target that much. And if it does, they don't really have the tools to deal with the rain, because in a 1v1, a rain against a Winston, your rain wins, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with a Genji. If the Genji goes melee range against the rain is going to win. He has a biggest hammer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is play passive, and actually don't play close to the rain here, because you don't need to. You need to be close to the
Support.
sand. Exactly.
That makes sense.
So for example, in this situation where the monkey goes in, I mean, he gets pooped away, but you locking him down by punishing the jump is probably going to grant you a kill.
I'm on monkey. Monkey's.
Genji's behind you guys.
I'm frozen. I'm frozen.
Look at this. If this armor pack, for example, that you go for the rain, if your Zen is alive, he can discord. I mean, he can armor your rain,
Genji's behind you guys.
and then the armor pack that you use will be used in your Zen,
To help keep
basically
him alive.
allowing him to survive.
Yeah.
You see the chain of effect, right?
I'm on
Yeah.
monkey still. I'm on monkey.
Okay.
Monkey's down.
You go for that.
Point. No, point.
You should be ready to call here a stun. Okay, this is like, This is a super
On monkey, Scott, on monkey.
critical mistake that a lot of brick players do.
Point.
Since you have a barrier, and this might sound like a little stupid, okay? But since you have a barrier, you use it. And you tell me, wait, what?
Well, no, I mean, it makes sense because half of my kit is the shield bash, but if I have a broken barrier, I'm not able to shield bash. So by using it, it's essentially taking away one of my other abilities without me getting any value out of it.
hmm First of all, if this were a situation where you can die, honestly, this is not a situation where you can die, alright? They don't have enough damage to go through you. You can just keep swinging and switching to shield, and you can 2v1 this guy.
Okay.
But if you want to protect yourself, like try to think where you are right now. What's the closest wall you have?
There's the one to the right, or the one that's directly behind me.
Yes. And then you have this pillar right here, right?
Yeah.
Which means that if you run out of the shield, what are you going to do?
Just play one of the natural terrains.
One of the?
What's that?
Can you go again?
Oh,
Play one?
Oh, I was saying like if I'm trying to survive and I run out of shield, the better thing would just be to play one of the play around natural terrains, like one of the places that's closest to me.
Okay. The thing is, if these walls go down like they do, you don't have a wall close to you to break line of sight, which leaves you without shield in the open, completely exposed.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, you need to adapt when you play Brick. You need to adapt this rain mentality, right? Let's pretend, let's ignore that the fact that if you actually drop your shield and go for these guys and you keep switching between swinging and the shield, you're going to 2v1 them effectively. But if you want to cover yourself, you need to get close. Use this. This is a death timer for you, right? Whenever it starts, the closer it is to break, the closer you need to be to hug a wall.
I see.
Basically. Because walls, at the end of the day, this is a wall. This is a wall that you create. This is a wall that protects you. This is a wall that you can see through. But this, in terms of blocking damage, is not different than this wall or than this. This is why when you see Reinhardt players close to one corner, they just swing through the corner. Because they have the protection of the corner, but the radius of the swing of the hammer bigger, so they can deal damage on the other side of the corner.
Yeah.
Exactly the same mechanic that you can abuse with your swing.
Okay.
That playing close to walls is something is a lifesaver for you.
I see. Okay.
I'd gotten knocked down to the point, so I wasn't there with you guys.
And then, okay, go for
Baby.
stagger. No stagger.
Baby's there.
Okay, no stagger.
Someone lose.
Because we hadn't capped the point yet, and so we're focused more on trying to get that started.
Okay.
No, swap to me. Swap to Reaper. Swap to
All right. Let's see. What do you do?
Can you keep Harmony on Chef just to begin and then swap
Here.
it around base in the fight?
You go close.
I'm rallying for armor here. Do you have grab? I'm slept.
This is.
I'm on monkey. Swing into
Okay.
grab, swing into grab.
Boom. All right. Oh, nice.
Reaper down. I'm on Lucio. Lucio's down.
Okay, let's rewatch this a bit. First of all, whenever you win a fight, like here, you kill these two guys, etc. Blah blah blah.
I'd
Which
gotten
is
knocked down
nice.
to the point, so I wasn't there.
Here,
On Lucio.
you don't really need to be 6 capping, right? Because you already won the fight. You are going to cap.
Yeah.
Again, it's really important when you win a fight what you do with the advantage. Usually, what do you do?
One of the
Yeah.
best things to do, at least right here, would probably just be to essentially get ready for the next fight, especially because the rest of the team is already kind of here, and so they're going to be looking to take as much space for free as possible. And so, with that in mind of not wanting to have 6 on point, keep 3 and then have the other 3 go set up on the high ground and get ready for the next fight, just to slow the enemies down.
You can even send 5.
Okay.
You don't really need 3 person on the point. You can just let the Lucio cap.
Okay.
The-
And he is
the
the fastest
important-
one, so he can get to the rest of us
Exactly.
quickly.
And then what you do is you basically, if you realize if you take this aerial side, this is the point, right?
Mhm.
Something like this, more or less. What am I doing here? Something here, like this, like this. Yeah. Basically, what you want to do, since the point is here, this is this is bottlenecks. Remember bottlenecks, right?
Yeah.
Bottlenecks that you want to abuse. It means that if there is a discomposition that has flankers, etc., that is going to go around you, etc., if you're gonna fight against them and you pressure them onto choke points, this is exactly when you use that water and you throw it into the sewer.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter the versatility Genji has or the jumps Winston have, if they cannot use them to get through the choke point, right?
Mhm.
So just if you have this fight when the Reinhardt can go literally walk into the choke point and swing, just your Reinhardt is playing in a ground that it favors him.
Yeah. Because they have
But if
to,
you-
like you said, they have to contest into us, and we already have. We are where we want to be.
Exactly. And there is this phenomena called that like if the Winston is going to jump to ignore, Winston is going to jump regardless, right?
Mhm.
The ideal situation for the Winston is to jump to ignore your rain. But if the rain is so aggressive, the Winston is going to use their mobility, but it's going to jump away from the rain.
Mhm.
And by doing that, you basically are pressuring them. And you use against dive, it's really important that you use the choke point.
Yeah.
Right now, what is going to happen is they are in the open. That means that the water is out of the sea where it's able to spread through the ground. That means that instead of being fighting in this 5-meter room, they are fighting in this entire area where they can spread around and use mobility to just overrun you from sides.
Mhm.
They are like, you are like a candy, and they are the hand that wraps the candy around.
Yeah.
But if you are playing in the choke point, they are basically a tree, and you are the axe that is cut in the tree.
I see. I see.
Playing, you don't really play. Of course, you play comp versus comp, but also where you play, it's really important.
Mhm.
The geography of the map is really important, gives you advantages.
Can you keep Harmony on?
Since you killed 2 guys here,
to begin and
for example, you just kill the Diva and you just kill the Lucio, right?
Mhm.
I will pop their rally. They are 4 guys that are alone. There are 4 guys, and you're popping the rally. Basically, you are rushing them. There is no way the Lucio and the Diva are there.
I'm rallying for armor here. Do you have grab? I'm slept.
I tried to stun the Genji before he had dashed,
Yeah.
but that was mistimed.
You know a trick for the Genji stun.
What?
Let's say let's hear where you. What does this mean? Slav? Is this
Sleep.
stun?
The sleep.
Sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering because they don't have a rain.
Yeah. No, it's sleep.
I'm rallying for armor here.
Okay.
Do you have grab?
This dragon, super cute here. If the Genji is going to play, who is he going to blade on? Most likely.
The backline. He would probably try and kill the Zen first before his Zen can pop
Exactly.
trans.
Instead of bashing on this, this is like playing. This is like saying 900 IQ.
Mhm.
Instead of bashing where the Genji is, since he has a reset, it's going to be hard. Try to predict where the Genji is going to be, and so instead of bashing here, bash into your Zen.
I see.
Then the Genji is going to run into your bash,
Mhm.
and then you're going to lock him down.
Do you have grab? I'm slept.
Besides that, like Genji doing that is not the best play.
I'm on
usually.
monkey.
Yeah.
Swing into grab.
All right, that's really good. Usually
Reaper down.
in this
I'm on Lucio.
composition that you are facing, it doesn't make too much sense. They are trying to dive with a Reaper,
Mhm.
We use.
with a Jankras now.
They're
Alright.
gonna have.
So what you will be
they're gonna
doing,
have bomb,
wanted
they're
to
gonna
do
have
is try
Sentinel,
to,
they're gonna have-
whenever the Reaper gets close, the Winston is not going to deal too much damage.
Mhm.
especially since you have map control, so he needs to commit, use the jump, right, in order to get to your backline.
Yeah.
And Lucio is pretty useful and just getting the monkey off the Zen. So your main plan right here should be pooping or stunning the Reaper as much as you can and protect your main tanks or your tanks rather.
They're gonna be coming
Okay,
up
okay.
to Reaper, but they don't have it yet. Oh, hey,
Okay,
swing in, swing in.
nice proactivity.
I didn't even hear that. Fucking
Yeah,
Alright.
I didn't either.
Okay. One thing you can do is if you put your shield here,
You can peek around the edge.
3-person view.
Yeah.
This is like playing Players Unknown Battleground, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you play that game,
Yeah,
but you're
no,
at least
I do.
3-person view.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you put the thing here, you can spot them, and they say, hey, if they do this, you can say, you create what's info, a call, and you say, hey boys, they are going that way, so their team can mirror this, they can match this movement.
Mhm.
Of course, they can fake you, so whenever you are, here and going for this call, you stay here.
Mhm.
Because the radius that you need to cover like 100 meters, but they doing inside is going to be 120. So it allows you to just be 2 seconds or 3 seconds late,
Mhm.
just to make sure that they are not faking you.
Yeah. Because the last thing I want is for me to call that out and have our entire team rotate and then have them just come back up this
They
way.
do this a whip.
Yeah.
Why is your Zarya here, by the way?
He's actually
Farming.
he's watching the flame.
Okay.
We probably should have had a Lucio there instead because he's the fastest one.
No, it's okay. Usually what you want to do if you want to apply this in this map, what you want to do is have the D.Va here.
Okay.
D.Va watches below.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Like separating your Zarya from your Rain is a risky thing. Anyway, usually also what you want to do is, whenever you are doing this 3-person view, you look for a stun out of nowhere. Again, they don't know you are there, etc.
They are
Yeah.
gonna have Nano though.
Okay,
Watch your bomb, watch your bomb.
nice. Keep swinging, keep swinging. Go for the rain.
Okay.
Here you need to stun the rain. You need to lock down the rain. You need to call or call like
Watch
this.
the reroll,
Okay,
watch the
nice.
reroll, watch the reroll.
That's a good trade.
Okay. I got it.
But feel like it feels like you are scared a bit because you are completely like you are 400 HP here right now
Okay.
in the trance, etc. Like you are super, and you play super far away.
Okay. I got it.
So right there, that positioning, I was trying to. Oh god, I went to go heal the D.Va and walked around just to see her behind the other wall, and I was like, oh.
They use tire.
Usually, you want to take the fight by pressuring the rain. Whenever the rain goes out, from this here, you go for a stun on him, and you go for a pin. For example, they don't have a sun, so your rain is not going to get one shot. If you go for you calling the stun. If that's the power of info, right? Like it's like Sombra says, you are again right using this, and then you're calling. Rain is going 3, 2, 1. Whenever he goes out, you instantly stun plus pin. Since you with the countdown, you make you and your main tank coordinate yourselves.
Yeah.
You insta one shot the rain.
Yeah, I'm on.
You insta one shot him, and then you just shield up and you just kill everybody.
I see. That's clever.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Like at the end of the day, you can be really good at this game, but when you get coordinated, this game just becomes another whole level.
Yeah.
We should have talked about we should have talked more about like what ults we were going to use in that fight. We talked a lot about what they had, but we didn't talk about what we were going to use.
What they have. Also, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
they had thrown the bomb in, and they had. I don't know if anybody saw that.
This is the first map you play, right?
Yeah, we played the first map and Busan. Yes, it was the very first game in the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. So established dominance already with the goats.
Yeah.
I see.
Fight on point, yeah. Walk to point,
Okay,
fight on
let's
point.
see. How do you roll out this?
The right side?
Okay, they're playing mirror. Oh, with May. Okay.
Yeah, give May no cooldown, May no cooldown.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Pretty decent.
I'm with you, I'm with you.
Leaving right now, they're all low. Any heals?
I bubble for you.
Yeah, yes, let's clean this up, Exactly, exactly. You can keep going. You can keep going until this. Exactly
Back
the
to
spot.
point, we have to go cap point. Lucio go cap, Lucio go cap.
You didn't cap though.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not a problem.
Yeah, we told Lucio to go cap the point so we could all hold the high ground here.
Are they main?
This is a really good place to fight. All right. This is the main problem. Look how far you are from your rain. And then you get targeted. Usually, if the rain is defending here, the rain is defending, your rain is defending in the good spot, in this pillar. You should be close to him here.
Okay.
And whenever you can, you just pick, you just swing a bit, couple swings, and then you go back out. You don't want to receive a lot of damage, and you also want to be like far from him, a bit, so you don't receive cleave damage incoming. But you need to, like, whenever this happens and this bubble happens, this is so greedy on their side. This is something that you can punish, because you kind of punish this, but there is no one to follow you up because you are striking from behind. If you're close to your rain, and you just, first of all, you armor pack him, and second of all, you just go for the stun. Your rain is going to have way less pressure on him,
I'm down.
and then you don't die because you are not isolated.
Nice.
Yeah.
Push on that. Watch out, May in the back.
May's low.
They're running a May goat, so we have to look for the Ryan. Look for the Ryan.
Get the rain.
Usually, holding choke points, holding corner is the go for break. That's why your third person view is so strong, because you can see and just reaction to whatever happens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, time to stall as much as you can.
Yeah. Didn't last that long, but
Good luck with that, right?
Well, yeah. So they're running
Okay.
a Mara goat, so we should look for the Ryan first.
Okay. Do you want me to keep Discord on?
Grab bomb, and then I'll go Zarya and you go McCree blue.
I don't know if you have the sound on, but that was Village talking right there, and his mic gets so scuffed sometimes. Like-
Oh, actually, I don't have the comms.
I'm bubbling you.
Huh?
No. I mean, I usually don't have them. At least first classes or first sessions, because comms is something. I
Altogether.
mean, if something happens, I will turn comms on for that play. You know.
I see.
I'm bubbling you. Okay, I'm gonna grab in. Never mind, I'm down.
Okay, the thing is, again, the same thing. You're playing super far away from your main tank. Because look, they actually are off angling. the Zarya is here. On the reins left, right,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna grab in. Never mind, I'm down.
and they go for the one of the main things that you need to look for. If you're close to the rain, first of all, you should pop the rally here, in order to provide sustain through the engage. Second thing, you need to, like, if the rain is looking at this, let's say that this is rain and this is his field of view, you should be looking at this.
I see.
All right, because this is a break incoming or this is a lose incoming, and you need to stand this. For example, you see this break right here, you need to read that situation and say, hey, they might go for a side stun on my rain, so I need to block this. Take this one for my rain, not the stun, but actually aggressively stunning this break.
Yeah.
And since you are on the rally, you can even go for a kill.
I'm gonna grab in. Never mind, I'm down.
This is why it's so important for the main support, for the support players, to realize where the fight is going to take place.
Sorry, I have rally now.
You say, hey, the fight is on my rain. You need to be close to him all the time.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
what did they use there? They used grab, and I think they used beat.
Oh, and this is a bit scuffed.
Grab shadow.
Oh, you go for the Kree comp.
They used either
Kree comp with rain, okay.
No,
Yeah, because they have
So-
the Farah now, and we had no way of really dealing with her.
We have.
It's a good call. It's a good call. How do you deal with this?
Look for the Rhine.
Who is going to be the main target here?
Um,
Or rather than the main target, who do you think you need to survive the most?
we're gonna try to keep our Rhine up, but also we need to keep our McCree up because McCree is the only one who can really deal with the Farah.
Okay.
And so as soon as the Farah is down, we need to make sure that our Rhine stays alive. So it's kind of trying to find the balance between those two.
The thing is, right now, since you switch from the Diva to the McCree, you have less burst damage, but you have more poke damage. Whenever you get a preset comp, like Goats, you say, hey, Goats is good at this. Whenever you switch a piece out, you're switching the style of the comp. If it's into something, for example, like Genji, the comp is faster, actually, because the Genji is faster. It's not talking about damage, it's about the passing you want to, want to show. Taking a hit scan is always slower, always, because it relies on line of sight. You want to poke, etc. And you want to usually protect the hit scan as much as you can.
Yeah.
So you should not be going so hard on these guys. You want to make the fight as long as possible.
She's discorded.
Okay, so the hit scan deals keeps dealing. The hit scan output is the same all the time. So the longer the fight is, the more damage is going to dish out. Nice on the brig.
Yeah, Zarya, get Zarya.
Turning around how the McCree is okay. All right. Again, you took another different pattern, right?
Yeah. Break us
You
down.
use the
Okay. Good job.
yeah. If your rain is you lose control of your rain, you basically go on your own.
Yeah.
Break us down.
It's okay. It's a cleanup phase. They are completely split, and you are basically
Zarya's high charge. She should die.
making a space for your McCree to just walk forward. It's alright.
Yeah, push up.
We're without our, or who are we without? Oh, never mind.
No,
That
we're
was,
fine.
okay, never mind. That was their Zen's body. That was seen.
Yeah.
Again, you're a stone. You're super away from him. Like this is, for example, this is a call that you need to be like. Whenever this happens, somehow this is something rare that it happens. Okay, but whenever this happens in our Discord, it blows up because they just use the bubbles for charge. As an anecdote, for example, you know Dafran, right, in Atlanta. You know who Dafran is.
Oh yes.
We know that in the Atlanta staff, they forbid Dafran from using bubbles like this. If he uses a bubble like this, he's going to get benched. Using bubbles to charge himself. There is this phenomena whenever you kill a Zarya and you reset her energy. If you are losing, you need to recontest into someone with either using your bubbles to use energy, so you cannot run into the defenders. So the Zarya become a DPS, or you just keep on your bubbles and you play without a DPS, right? Because Zarya has no energy.
Yeah.
So if you see this, like they are going as proactive as this on bubble management, this is a call that you basically run into them. Like run as much as you can. You basically go for the ring with everything you have. If you were close, again, if you were close to your ring here, right? Whenever this ring starts swinging, you go for a stun and a hits and a one shot, basically.
That makes sense because now we know that they don't have the bubble to help keep him alive, so we should be able to blow him up.
Exactly.
They're down Ryan. We should push. Yeah, push. Oh, I'm down.
And then you just instant chuck a pick.
Yeah.
Kills on Ryan. We're down.
At the end of the day, your goal is if you have Diva, Diva can go on the air and try to shut down the Farah,
We have Rally.
especially without Mercy. But since you want to hold this choke and don't push forward, because if you keep holding this line, your McCree can be like 40 meters away, just controlling the Pharah at distance.
Mhm.
In the hitscan plus Pharah interaction, you remember what we talked the other day, right? The moment the Pharah, you as Pharah or the enemy Pharah onto your hitscan, they are able to short the distance.
Mhm.
The 1-in-1 gets balanced and even on favor for the
Yeah.
Pharah.
The closer the Pharah is, the deadlier she is.
Exactly. So as a team, since you switch the McCree to counter the Pharah, it's not that you say, hey, McCree, just be on your own. No, the entire team needs to act like that.
Mhm.
The important thing is that you keep the distance always with this in mind, this chess play, right? Keeping the distance. Because the hits can, of course you want to kill the Pharah, right? But as long as you can keep the Pharah under pressure so the Pharah cannot do shit, it's okay to not kill her. It's just every single time he tries to go up, he's going to get down because he's going to get shot at.
Mhm. So it's not
And
so much about killing her, but as it is just pressuring her to limit her
Exactly.
effectiveness.
In this game, and you coming from a Smite, even in a Smite, if you go for a kill, you can get punished for that
Yeah.
because you can fall into this overextension.
I was actually really good at in Smite. One of my specialties was baiting people to try and kill me, and then I would just outplay them, and then they would get punished for their greediness.
This is exactly what you did here right now. This is why you kill, why you get killed. Because you overextend, try to go for more kills. What do you do? If you go past this choke point, what this choke point is going to do right now, your McCree is this, he has this line of sight. But if you put this choke point like this LOS gets broken.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to push through this, breaks LOS, so the McCree cannot support you anymore. And that's why you die.
Yeah. Just immediately dead.
Heals on right.
And then the Pharah goes on your McCree, kills the McCree, then kill the Frame. Basically, you just lost it by, pushing too much instead of. We survived the clash, the rain clash. And then what we are going to do is we are going to keep our ground because we can heal ourselves, get cooldowns, and just get ready for another clash.
Because they can't really
As long-
push without their Ryan.
Exactly. What's different in this Ghost versus Ghost that they have a Pharah and you have a Kree? Who has the point? You. Who needs to be aggressive? Them. Who is losing in this? Them. Because your Kree counters the Pharah and you are winning against them. So on top of your DPS countering theirs, your team has the position and they don't have it.
Yeah.
A Pharah pushing against a Kree, it's hard because you need to cover the distance by yourself, getting through your entire team.
Yeah.
And for example, you can whiplash her, you can arbor pack your McCree, and then Pharah is dead. But if you just overextend and give the point like that, then it becomes harder because the Pharah, as you know, can go close to the like this, exactly, and just shut down your McCree.
Yeah.
Whenever it's really important that you understand this macro. You and your team understand this macro scenario, because then the decision making comes super easy.
Because
Like,
then
hey,
it's like
boys,
it kind of limits what makes sense to do.
Exactly. Of course, a skill takes a huge part, but on the long run, if you make 1,000 decisions, and those 1,000 make sense because you are playing with this chess play. Like, hey, we are playing against a space where a hit scan. We are going to backline because we have flankers, etc.
Wait, hang on.
Since it's always the correct decision, if you get better mechanically, you will win more games.
Yeah.
So that way we keep all charged.
Okay, so this is floats. Okay, this is interesting. Because this is floats versus goats. Okay, the guy... Oh, he did a smart jump. Okay. Alright, don't. You're just losing too much. Okay, nice. How do you play this? You usually, yeah, basically this one. Try to survive the Pharah.
I'm trying.
Your brig is
Yeah, you're doing great. Usually, what you want to do is to commit with your Winston. Try to save him as much as possible by standing the rain.
Lucio?
But if the Pharah targets you like that, then surviving is your best bet.
Pushing up. Lucius, look at the Discord. Don't push too far.
what-
I have no DM. I can't take it.
I'm rallying here for just for armor. Stay group for rally.
Oh shit, I'm not there. It's okay.
This is a problem. For example, I wouldn't use the rally like this because yes, it's good for the Zarya and it's good for the Sun, but the problem is you are armoring your team, and the fire is going to poke you down. This armor that you have extra cannot be healed, so you are basically giving them ult charge at the cost of nothing.
I
Watch the
see.
shatter. Watch the shatter. They're gonna have shatter.
So instead of just rallying here, there, you rally here, and you go for the rain. Your Winston is doing super good. Like this is super insanely smart move,
Massive.
going for dropping on the sand and stuff, and then you just whenever you play floats, you want to establish what is called double target.
Far use ult.
Oh,
Far no ult.
that was unlucky,
Yeah.
Far down.
but it's okay. It's you losing the barrage for this. It's nice.
Please shatter.
You get a snowball.
Or just get out if you can actually.
Usually, what you want to do with floats is the Winston goes on one target, and then you get
For heals? Okay.
into the other one,
I see.
and they cannot answer both targets at the same time. So usually in floats, you become the target. For example, this is a scenario where I will put comms on right now,
I don't have,
because you should be the one calling for targets based on your shield bus.
have heals for you. There you go.
It's okay.
Massive.
Big one.
I'm on Lucio.
Yeah, Lucius behind us.
Lucio's low.
Pharah's behind us.
Farah.
Okay. Usually, what you want to do is to call your shield buses. Right, shield buses in 3, 2, 1, or shield bus and Lucio in 3, 2, 1, etc.
Far no ult.
And the entirety of your team, like the Winston is doing his thing,
Please shatter.
and the entirety of your team should follow your call.
Or just get out if you can.
Okay.
Okay.
In this particular comp, is the most optimal thing to do,
For heals? Okay. Falling back.
because you are at the end of the day you are a mini Reinhardt.
Yeah.
You want to swap the counter the Pharah? Pharah use barrage. They don't have it anymore. They don't have shatter anymore.
Yeah.
They're gonna have grab. You're gonna have.
Sorry, that's your accent, Liams.
We have.
Like
bottom, we have
to win this,
yeah, we'll go.
like not easily, right? But in a comfort fashion, your diva should be flying for that fire 24/7
Okay.
off cooldown. She has not a mercy, so
Yeah, so you can just kind of chip away at her.
like just try to imagine this, okay? You're Winston with the Zarya bubble. They go for the sun, right? So Winston goes for the sun. Your diva goes for the Pharah, and then Brig plus core, which is the rest with Zarya, etc. You go for the rain.
I see.
What do they heal?
They can't do it all. They'd probably try to put everything they can to keep the Rhine up, but they're going to be down a little bit because Zen will be dead at that point, and they're not going to have the damage they need from the Pharah, so the Rhine simply will just fall due to lack of resources put into him.
This Winston versus Stan fight, who wins this?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Winston versus Stan?
Oh,
This first
Winston should beat Zen essentially every time.
Winston. So Diva versus Pharah. What do you think about this?
If the Diva plays it well, then the Pharah will die, but Pharah does have the Harmony Orb on her, which will make it a little bit harder for Diva, but...
Let's say about... No, having the Harmony Orb actually makes this a 2v1.
But if Zen is dead, then...
Let's keep this theoretical.
Okay.
So Diva on top of the Pharah, the Diva should win, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And the Brigitte, you plus your entire team against Arain,
Well,
you should win this,
we
right?
should win, yeah.
So of the 3 fights you are establishing right now, you are winning 3 of them. This is what basically means in Overwatch you are countering them.
Yeah.
That is, as long as you carry on with this plan, they should not be able of doing anything.
Mhm. That makes sense. Just trying to take the use our counters effectively.
Exactly. You just basically, this is not your comp face countering their comp. This is basically small parts of your comp countering
I'm on my way.
small parts of their comp. You're breaking down your comp. You're splitting, you know.
Mhm.
I'm just doing it so I can fucking.
And this is actually way more reliable because you have 3 winning conditions instead of 1.
Mhm.
No, I'm still in spawn.
There you go.
Oh, you go for a widow instead of a diva.
Did you use bomb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We weren't. My bad. Yeah, we weren't ready.
Just pull back.
Try to use your third person view to call like this, like this. It's free, etc.
Left side. Left. No.
That's a win condition right now. You guys ready? Ready to push? You're gonna dive in, diving in the high ground. Boom.
Okay, rally.
Tickling this end.
Alright, go for the rain. Yeah, you basically end up getting together instead of just of splitting as much as possible, you know?
You got me, Dory. You got me. We focusing.
Ryan. I'm on Ryan.
Nice. Pick up
Okay,
This is
Team
Zarya
popping
on me.
off.
High charge Zarya on me. High charge Zarya on me. I need help.
nice. Try to shield up as much. Without, I mean, yeah, without it's in Spanish. Be careful about your. Whenever you do this is something you need to be careful about. Again, you are super far away from walls, etc.
This
Like,
is Zarya on me.
Hugging
High
wall
charge
is something
Zarya on
that
me.
you
High
need
charge
because
Zarya on me.
break
I need help.
allies.
Yeah.
If you are doing this, the fight is happening on your back. You know, you should be trying to hug this corner right here to be into the safe spot. If you manage to do that correctly, then you should not die. And then you don't really need to lower your barrier like this because it gets you killed basically.
Yeah.
Zarya's one. Yeah, point.
We have time.
Lucio half.
Get the Zarya. She's high
Zarya's
charge.
way too high charge. Yeah.
We gotta switch it. She's high charge. She's happy. Now the
It's I'm pretty sure you were rolling out like what trying to see here the Faraday, right? Like somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan's got discard. Just get the Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan needs to
Okay.
die.
Paradise. Try to stun the Zarya. Now that you were for the okay, that's smarter. Went for the beam.
Yeah, I tried to get the Moira and her ult, but the Ryan ate it.
Zarya's so one.
Mhm.
Good job.
I'm on the Zen right now. I'm on the Zen with you. Don't
Nice.
Got to kill me.
go to fire.
Moira's one.
Oh.
Moira no fade. Clean up this Moira. Stagger her.
What?
Yeah, we were all like, what even happened there?
Whenever you are in these messy situations, one thing you can do is
We only
just
have
try to go on your own, trying to find the Zen and the Lucio on your own in this messy brawl. For example, right now, or rally on them.
Okay.
What's their win condition?
They're gonna have Grav. They're gonna have.
For example, in this situation, there is something that you can do. It's just an option. You stand behind this using the third person view with you, so they don't know you are behind this. Whenever they push your monkey, for example, your Lucio speeds you, and you go full with the rally. You go full into the back line.
I see.
Got you. Orb on you.
Ryan,
We had a call for this whenever they did that to us.
There's barrage.
Called banana.
He'll-
Enemy brick banana in,
I'm rallying again. Can we
and you know exactly what you need to do.
we have to go now?
Go for the stun. Oh,
Rain discorded.
okay.
I should have, but I was trying to get him low enough to just instant kill him. Because if you hit him twice, I think it's 3 times actually. If you hit him 2 or 3 times and then stun, swing, whiplash, you can drop them. And so I was hoping to do that to stop him from popping trains.
3 times is 35. Each swing is 35 from big.
Yeah, I'm on Ryan.
Okay.
I'm on Ryan.
And the shield was now used to
It
deal
50.
40.
It did 50 before. Now it does 5.
That's 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically a major nerf.
Yeah.
Okay. pretty much as a wrap, be close to your Rain as much as possible. Try to support him in a Rain versus Rain. Try to support him. He is the one that is going to receive the focus. In a Rain versus Winston, instead of the Rain, the Zen, your Zen, is going to receive the focus.
Okay.
Play close to walls. Always hug walls. And of course, if you see with the third person view, they use bubbles, you can speed on them super hard, like go insanely high on them with yours.
I see. Okay.
That is going to give you a target always for the armor pack, etc.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, I think then. It's 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess we can call it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you for your help and thank you for your time.
I mean, it's an honor. It's a pleasure, honestly. Like having this interaction, I told you the other day. I feel really grateful because it's if people get to interact with me and say I mean, for example, I'm super impressed that your train of thought is actually super good when it comes to the God's explanation. For example, you are able to read this
Thank
situation, you know. So it's really good. It's really good.
The
really,
issues
really
I run into is just trying to apply it in game.
Well, I mean, that's that the good thing. The good part is, I mean, the bad part is that you need to apply that on game, on the game. But the good thing is, it's only about time. Because if you have the basics and you know what to do,
it's only a matter of time before I start to make those changes in the game itself. Yeah.
Exactly. I cannot say when is that